We have this from CNN. House panel unanimously approves bill that could ban TikTok. This is getting crazy. I think TikTok should be, I'll be careful here because there are grounds by which TikTok should be restricted or banned. That I think is fair. We ban things all the time. We ban lots of drugs. I don't think all drugs should be legal. I'm not a big fan of the prison system or the war on drugs. I think TikTok and social media is addictive, manipulative, and what they're saying about TikTok is effectively a casino slot machine for children. And these kids can't develop resistances to the manipulation. And that's why we say you can't gamble or drink or do these things until you're a certain age when you're past the point where it could rewire your brain. TikTok is so dangerous. You know what, man? TikTok played themselves. Let me show you what's going on. Our good friend Ed Krasenstein says, this is really happening. TikTok is sending people this notification. TikTok is at risk of being shut down in the US. Call your representative now. TikTok is sending these notifications. Well, guess what? They played themselves. I want to show you this. This is from Matthew Foldy, political reporter for The Spectator. A kid called a House office threatening suicide if the bill passes. TikTok is destroying our kids' brains for someone to say this even as a joke. He then, we have another one here. Another office is reporting to me that they've gotten suicide threats by American children who called to try to prevent TikTok from being owned by an American company. If TikTok has driven these kids to this point, then I'm all in favor of saying shut it down.
I know. I agree with that 100%. TikTok is brainwashing kids. And they're using their algorithm, their agenda, to turn them against the United States. We should just send them to the military. These are pampered, weak kids that shouldn't be watching TikTok whatsoever. They should be in school, but sadly in school you get indoctrinated. So the military should be the answer
you want
for
like
this problem.
compulsory service?
I would say like a two week training for them because these kids are so weak. They're so ungrateful to this nation.
Well, the issue with this is they're going on TikTok and their brains are locked into a slot machine. Mm-hmm. It's just swiping, and they're getting...
It's addictive.
Well, the crazy thing is it's fractured reality. They're not watching an hour-long podcast where they're getting point A to point B, where a conversation is had, where you can develop neurons around certain concepts. They're watching a video of a dog doing a backflip, then they swipe, and there's a picture of a cat jumping over a rabbit, then they swipe. Then there's an old lady, doing a jigsaw puzzle, and then they swipe. Then there's a guy swinging a stripper pole or something like this. But it's all completely random.
Yeah, it is. And what's interesting is we know that social media has basically shortened kids' attention spans, that they're, as the advent of YouTube or whatever else, that they are looking for basically the dopamine hit from the video faster and faster and faster. And that's what TikTok wants. That's what TikTok rewards. And ultimately, I think that this is not the direction as a culture we'd want, right? We want to develop critical analysis, critical thinking. We want kids to want to have to go in depth and really think about their values, their issues. And instead, the majority of TikTok's daily user are young American teenagers who are basically being rewarded for swiping faster and faster and longer all day long.
TikTok wanted people to call their reps to stop them from shutting this down, and it's backfired. They all unanimously voted in favor of it. I think it was 50-0 on the committee or whatever. I don't know. Someone, you want to fact check me on that one? But now you've got kids calling in, threatening suicide, reinforcing the call to action that TikTok needs to be stopped.
This clearly shows that TikTok is weaponized against America, plain and simple.
And this bill was brought by a bipartisan effort from the House Select Committee on China. I mean, this is something that both sides of the aisle see as an issue to the young people in their demographics and their care.
They're so easy to mold.
Right.
They're malleable.
Right. And we can all say, parents should step in and say, don't be on TikTok or whatever else. But if you're a teenager, you're going to find a workaround. Yeah. That's fine. And also, we know that there are concerns about the terms of service that come with TikTok. I mean, this is one of the reasons you saw this wave of administrators and governors in states saying, if you work on our Wi-Fi or if you use our devices, you cannot have TikTok because we don't know what data it's accessing because its terms of service are so broad. And that's something that we have increasingly saw concerns. But when that wave, one of these efforts to ban TikTok came up last year, TikTok CEO came and was interviewed by Congress, and he was like, well, if you do this, you'll hurt all of these small businesses that depend on us, right? I mean, TikTok itself is pulling out all the stops to say prevent America from banning us because they're using sort of emotional arguments. But ultimately, TikTok wants to say influential in the US because they are the dominant platform controlling how young Americans are spending their time and spending their money.
You guys know what this bill actually does?
It would force TikTok to divest from Chinese companies.
Away from ByteDance?
Yeah.
So ByteDance, the owner, so ByteDance would have to sell TikTok to an American company?
Yep.
Right. And it would also give the president, it would designate TikTok and ByteDance apps controlled by a foreign adversary, and it would give the president future power to say, you know, like, that another app is also controlled by a foreign adversary, and therefore we need to separate it from
This is
U.S.
a
use.
horrible idea.
No.
This is a terrible
Good
way
idea.
to get this thing under control.
Because-
you're going to give it to an American company so that they can manipulate your kids instead. And then you're going to give one guy the power to ban apps all across the planet?
No, Congress is giving the ability to ban one
You
app.
just said that you're giving future presidents the authority to declare something a foreign thing
right.
and then ban it?
That's called an
That's-
act of Congress.
Yeah.
And which requires a check from the president, which is exactly how the system is supposed to operate.
You're saying that Congress has to. You just
It's
said
not
the
that
president
Congress
has the
can
authority.
do it
Ian,
alone.
Ian,
There's a check and balance.
Congress passes a bill, meaning they have to vote on it. After it's voted on, the president can choose to activate it. That's two different branches that have to be in agreement. That's 2 out of 3. That is an excellent system.
Okay, so this,
And it's
this
one
doesn't.
app.
You're saying that
It's
this
one
bill,
app.
this bill does not give the future presidents the authority to ban social media apps.
One app. This app, TikTok.
And
Hannah
A
Claire just said
president-
that a future president
So,
would also
when
have
Yes, she
the
said it would
authority.
declare this app a foreign app of a foreign adversary or whatever.
Because it is foreign.
But then
And
they're
then-
going to have to sell it to an American company.
then
Good.
in the future, a president could say this app should also be considered.
Why do we allow foreign corporations in the United States anyway? Serious question.
Because of global trade.
Great. They
Yeah,
can
I
they can
noticed that.
operate as a subsidiary. There, I think Brazil. Tons of countries do not allow you to have an independent foreign operation. You have to be underneath an existing national operation in that country.
It reminds me of the laws that have come out in the last couple of years of saying that we shouldn't let foreign nationals who have no claim to the U.S. buy farmland, right? Like there are tons of, I mean, in this case, it's Chinese groups that are buying farmland across the U.S. and control tens of thousands of acres. Like that is of a concern, right? You don't have any tie to this country, but you literally own huge chunks of land.
The United States is the only country in the world that allows China to buy elected officials, to buy farmland, and now to control the minds of little children.
That's not true. But the United States does let them do that, but China does that way more in many other countries. Like they're buying parts of Africa and South America,
Missouri.
and huge numbers. And they're buying land. They're buying land everywhere. China's effectively colonizing the planet right
That shouldn't be allowed whatsoever.
The U.S. should not allow it at all. I want to read this from Bricktop. He says, for your information, TikTok has the most truth on it, only behind X. I promise it's not 10% as bad as you're all making it seem. Do you even use it? Marketing professional here. We do use it, and TikTok is the most censorious app we use. We get it's insane the degree to which they ban, censor, and remove content on TikTok. Yo, we go on YouTube. YouTube is nowhere near as bad as people make it out to be. YouTube is pretty bad. Facebook is probably I would say this. TikTok's the worst. Facebook, Instagram, and all their platforms are second worst. Then YouTube, then X. And actually, to be fair, I think like X and Rumble are fairly comparable. But Rumble's probably the best in terms of letting you say what you want to say and give your opinion. You know, X brought back the misgendering policy. So clearly it's not perfect, but TikTok is 100% the worst. And I can tell you this, as a company that produces social media on every single platform, and it's wild when I get a message saying, we got banned on TikTok again. I'm like, for what? We were reading something about economics and someone made a reference to a politician or something. I honestly, I have no idea. I think it may be that someone said someone was stupid. And I'm like, what happened? We had one that was on dating. We had one clip on TikTok that was about dating, and it was from, I can't remember what it was from. It was nowhere near bad. I think the clip was something like, well, you know, women tend to prefer like, you know, this or that, and men tend to prefer, it wasn't like women are dumb. It wasn't insulting women in any way.
Just talking about differences between
And then
behaviors.
they were like violation removed. And then we got the original Timcast IRL account was banned outright with no strikes and no warnings and they didn't tell us why. And then we've since then had numerous clips. So understand this. We know that TikTok is the most censorious social media platform. So we intentionally avoid things that we deem spicy. So we're like, we can't upload to TikTok. There's no point. So we'll only upload the ones that are like economics and voting. And we'll talk about the border a little bit, but we'll be very careful.
Not controversial whatsoever.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a little bit, it's politics, but we will definitely avoid anything related to like leftists or gender ideology. Nope. And then we're like, this one was totally safe and banned.
So common sense is not allowed.
It's control of political thought and opinion. TikTok, they'll allow you to like, X doesn't allow this. If you get banned on X, you can't make a new account. You can, and if they catch you, they ban you again. TikTok doesn't seem to care. You get banned, maybe make a new account. That's what everyone does.
I got banned, didn't go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think TikTok is the absolute worst platform. I think they absolutely manipulate young people and are intentionally making them psychotic. I think that at the very least, if you think it should be allowed that a mass media corporation can operate in the United States under a foreign country, no algorithm allowed. You say, fine,
or
reverse chronological only.
Or like open the algorithm.
No, not even open.
You got to be able to see what it's. Well, if you can verify that it's a clean algorithm, then you can use it.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You can't define.
Just because it's German
there's
doesn't mean
there's no
it's
clean
bad.
algorithm.
Well, if you can verify that the algorithm's not like actively sending you more of a certain type of thing
Of course
because
it
your
will.
age or the targeting.
But that's what it does.
Well, some algorithms do that. Some will just give you like a timeline feed. That's an algorithm too. It's just a basic
So what you're really
algorithm.
saying is you would allow certain algorithms.
Yes. I think there's ethical algorithms like.
And then
most recently posted. That'll be the top of your feed. That's an
you would
algorithm.
have to the algorithm would have to be created. It would have to fall under a specific category, be regulated and implemented.
Yeah. We would need people in Congress that are algorithm literate. That's why I don't like the whole banning
You can't do
thing
it.
at face value.
It can't be done.
Too heavy-handed.
It's impossible.
What?
It would be what you're describing is not possible.
Making them open their code to function.
Making an algorithm that would be like if they were to say, okay, the algorithm can like, what are the criteria by which an algorithm would be allowed to promote content?
Well, like mine's is you got your what is it? Time. It's like a timeline. That's an algorithm. Like whatever most recently got posted is going to be at the top of your feed. That's a basic algorithm.
That's called reverse chronological.
Reverse chronological order is algorithm. That's
Right. But we're not talking
an ethical
about that.
one.
We're talking about selective promotion. Quite literally, what I said was it would only be reverse chronological.
If you can opt into algorithms, like you can build your own algorithm. We do that on mine's a little bit.
What criteria do you think would make an ethical algorithm?
That anything that would be illegal for kids should not be promoted to kids.
So, gender ideology, communism. So you're saying it should be
because you're allowed to talk to kids about communism. You're allowed to even indoctrinate kids with communism.
What you're saying is it should be legal for TikTok to use addictive social media tools to then force extremist ideology to them, and that should be allowed.
I think that's what I'm trying to avoid. And how we do it, I mean, I don't know if I can come up with it on the spot and tell you exactly all the little yeses
possible.
and nos. Well, I mean, that's what Congress is for, to debate that kind of stuff.
It's not possible because they've all tried it for 20 years and it can't be done.
I don't think anyone's trying it.
Every time they've tried to make a simple algorithm for promoting content people like, it's been exploited by someone else to do something bad. So the answer seems to be reverse chronological only.
Yeah, or at least in addition to, you also have your reverse chronological.
Hey, you know what the best system was? Subscribers. You'd go on YouTube, you'd say, I subscribe. And if you did, it would show you the content. And it would show you the content you subscribe to in reverse chronological order. That should be the end of it. Now what's happening is TikTok is saying, we're going to show people what they like. The only problem is people get addicted to insane things. And then you end up with kids calling Congress, threatening suicide because they're addicted. That's an insane level of addiction. You don't need TikTok to live. You don't need it to function. It's not air, it's not water, it's not food. To threaten to kill yourself is insane, and that's exactly the problem.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest concern for me, that it's negatively affecting the young people in this country. And we know, at least I've heard that, the equivalent in China operates differently. It suggests, different, more academic subjects to its young users. And it bothers me that I understand the concern. I would worry about turning government control over, or censorship, but I think with the American youth, we know that they're hopeless, we know that they're depressed, we know that social media is addictive, and so the idea that we would just let them be manipulated at the hands of a company that's for profit, that's based in a different country that
hates us,
that doesn't like our way of life, it seems like it seems like a moral failing to not do something.
I think letting any corporation control that power is unethical. Whether they're a foreign country, I don't think any corporation has the best interest of your kids.
Yeah, but if a company
doesn't
do it, then like,
at least
does
public
the
ones
government do it? And I don't know. I want the government.
No,
to
I think
be
the people should do it. That's why I want the code opened, so that the people have to verify it on their own to know if it's going to be safe or not.
Dane, our social media guy, is hitting me up telling me what happened. He said, Fresh and Fit read a statistic about the happiest group of women, and the saddest group were working females. TikTok banned us. Pop Culture Crisis got banned because Mary Morgan was criticizing the show Mean Girls, and TikTok users mass reported the clip and got it removed, I guess. TikTok is the worst platform. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.